he is on the Mount Rushmore in Toledo of prominent black men and men who have done great things in this community. There are a few. I'll put him up there with Jack Ford and a couple of the other ones, Bill Copeland, and a few of the other great, Mr. Roberts, Pastor Bishop Roberts.
Radio announcer, DJ, promoter, and business icon Charlie Chuck has been a household name in this area for 60 years. He is also the founder of Toledo's first black-owned and operated radio station, 107.3 The Juice.
And for this Black History Month that celebrates 27 years on the air, but how did it all begin? We spoke to Chuck's family, who chalks it all up to prayer, perseverance, and patience. Charlie Chuck, known for his big personality and big dreams, getting a start on the radio back in the 60s.
He would try to be a disc jockey, but in Detroit, that was a hard thing to get into. He would hang out at the radio stations and try to get on the air, and they wouldn't really let you on the air. So the story is, he was at WJLB, hanging out with some of the jocks, and he couldn't get a job, a paid job. So they told him, where our sister station in Toledo is hiring, so you should go down there and try to get a job. So that's what he did.
Charlie worked his way up the ladder, becoming station manager, but he eventually wanted to change the way the platform was used. Getting involved when the Ku Klux Klan threatened to sue the Mississippi NAACP.
I said, no, they can't do that. We're not going to let them do it. I got angry. We got to raise some money so they can't do that. And I went on the air and raised $10,001.
And that's when the idea to own his own radio station was born. It took years of work, but he finally got the green light from the FCC.
In '97, when he signed on, it was all washed away. And he was the happiest I have ever seen him in my life.
The Juice was the real definition of starting from the bottom. All Charlie Chuck had was a piece of paper in hand and a fire in his heart to turn dead air into something the city had never had before.
We took an 8 CD changer, hooked it up to the antenna, and we had, as Chuck would say, go get as many CDs as you got at your house. And we set out at the studio before we got all our equipment in, and we sat there and just put in CDs and played them and rotate them for about 4 or 5 days until our engineer was able to come in and create us a studio.
It was a trial and a journey for this man of faith, but one he does not regret.
I always tell the people that's coming up now, if you have a good idea about a dream, especially one in radio, you think of the 3 P's: prayer, perseverance, and the main thing is patience. If that 10 years plus wasn't patient enough for me, I wouldn't have had this, wouldn't have started this.
What a voice here in Toledo.
A legend, the People's Station.
Charlie Chuck retired from the mic in 2015.